father since I was 10 years old. Used to make trips up there with my mom and my father. And always been kind of scared to go up there and stuff, but you know, when we were kids, we were growing up and we knew what my father was into, and the Johnsons, they'd come over to our house and they'd bring over the tapes and stuff, and they were excited to listen to it, and us kids would get outside, you know, the living room there and listen to them play the tapes and stuff. It was always kind of scary. So I guess when I was a kid, it was always kind of scary to be up there, but you know, I felt safe. We'd stay in the shelter and everything, and I never really wanted to see it. I never really wanted it to come around. I just wanted to be up there on the mountain with my father. And in '95, I went up there with my dad. We'd been making trips up there for throughout my years growing up and stuff. And '95, my dad and I were sitting up there, just finishing our dinner and stuff, sitting by the campfire. We didn't have fire going yet, but it was starting to get dark outside. And we were laughing about something. And I went to get up to grab a paper towel off the tree, and when I stood up and turned around to grab the paper towel off the tree there that we had hanging there, down by the creek, in the bush of the alders, there was a Bigfoot standing there. And it was huge. It looked like a tall black basketball player. Now I can just make out the image of the body. You know, it had its head blended into its neck, and it had a big frame around here. And it was very slender in the hips and long-legged, and it was standing there looking at us. My dad had his back turned, he was looking at me, my dad did, and when I seen it, there it is, you know, I couldn't believe my eyes, because here I was up here growing up and never really had any experiences, and I'm seeing it. And it's standing there looking at me. By the time I got out, there it is. The thing had turned, the creature had taken and turned his whole body, not at the waist or anything, but all in one motion, like on a lazy Susan, and turned and went behind the tree. And my dad was like, "There's what?" And I was like, "The Bigfoot, you know, the Bigfoot." And he goes, "Not a bear?" And I said, "No, Bigfoot." And he goes, "Okay, stay there." And he handed me the camera, and he goes, "I'm gonna run up the side of the ridge here and see if I can't scare it out of the alderbush from the spring." And I said, "Okay." And I was so excited to see it. It was just, I couldn't believe it. You know, it wasn't a scary thing. It was very eloquent the way that it was. It didn't act, you know, like an awkward thing. It was the way it moved. It was just in a shift, and it moved. And we never seen it again, never seen it come out of the bushes again, and that was my first sighting in '95.
How old were you?
I was about 27, maybe? I think so, yeah, I have to do math, but my late 20s.
Could you make out features? You said it looked like a tall basketball player. Could
Right,
you see
I
facial?
did not see eyes. It was total shape of the thing. Couldn't tell you if it was hairy. It looked very athletic to me. It looked very strong, and it was about around 7 feet tall from what from the branch that I seen that it was lingering by, and when it went behind, it was around 7 feet. So I don't know. Is that a young one? I don't know. I was on my period at the time that happened. I had to bring that up because I have a feeling that was why it let me see it to some degree. And then that was that experience. And so I thought, okay, that's my one-time shot. Okay, these things they are existing. They are up there. I've had other experiences up there as well that tend to go on the strange side of things. I've been in a position where we've slept outside of our shelter up there, and we didn't sleep inside because it was the roof was caving in that year, and it was a mess in there. So both my dad and I slept underneath the stars. I think that's the last time I'll sleep underneath the stars though up there, because when we were sleeping that night, I was awoken, but I'm not sure why I was awoken, but I can hear my dad still sleeping beside me. I can hear his breathing going on. He was snoring just a little bit. But I was awoken, and I had felt like I couldn't move. I was in my sleeping bag, and I felt like I was being held down. And from what I could get, what I was feeling was hands. There was 2 hands coming up my sleeping bag, up each leg, very gently. But I couldn't open my eyes. It was like I was being held. And I remember not feeling comfortable about this. Something was wrong. And I laid there and I could still hear my dad sleeping, but I couldn't speak. It was like being in a dream and you can't scream. That's the way I describe it. And as I was laying there feeling this happening to me, these hands were working their way up my bag. And I remember laying there going, oh, God, help me make this stop. Send in Archangel Michael. I didn't know what to do, you know. And at this time, in my head, I know it sounds crazy, but I was told, don't open your eyes, you'll die. Now this was part of, I guess, feeling, I don't know, afraid, I don't know, but this was all I can pick up in my mind. And at that moment, it stopped. The hand stopped. I never heard anything walk away or anything else. It just stopped at that point. So that was another odd situation that happened up there.
That was situation number 2.
Right,
But
okay.
you've had 3
I've
actual...
seen it 3 times. 2009, yeah, 2009, 10. 1st of July, my dad and I went to a site that's not far from our campsite. We decided to stay down below on a mountain there where we figured these things might be crossing through. It was early one morning. It was right before the break of dawn. We got up. My dad was fussing around, gonna get some coffee made. And I got up and half awake there, I got up and I went and I sat down at the picnic table and I had a little wooden flute. I was just screwing around, can't play the flute, but I was trying, you know, I was whistling on the little thing. And as I was sitting there whistling at this flute, I looked across the meadow there and I am seeing one of these creatures walking through the meadow heading towards the river. And it was like for 1001, 1002, 1003 seconds if this, and it crossed through the meadow. And I picked up when I was looking at it that it seemed sad. I don't know what it was. It was kind of the dark and the grayish light in the morning, but as it walked through the meadow there, it lumbered, you know, and it had the acorn-ish shaped head. It was awkward looking, and its knees kind of popped up and down when it walked right towards the river and stuff.